All right, good morning. So we're starting out with talking about scatter plots today, and we're going to do that for a couple of days. This is just basic information that hopefully when you see it, you can just answer these questions fairly quickly. Just like yesterday, I want those, when you're comparing things, I need it to be really quick so you guys don't have, I just want it kind of ingrained, so you feel confident enough just to answer those questions on quizzes. I know it was a lot, but I need you to get through that and get at least an 80 and 85% on it. Therefore, when you see it, you can answer those quickly. All right, so here we go. So we're talking about a scatter plot, and this is kind of what a scatter plot looks like. Scatter plots are graphs that use points to display bivariate. And all that means is that you have an X and a Y, bi meaning two. So bivariate data is with two variables, I guess that's what it says, or number data. So this has nothing to do with, so it's number and number. So my X is numbers, my Y's are numbers. So scatter plots can determine or help us determine if one variable has an effect on the other, or there are overall trends, patterns, or associations between them. So when you have two variables that have a positive association, you can see that this is positive because as you're increasing, this is increasing. So you have something that you can go up like this. So when the variables move with the same pattern together, sounds like a better word, and there are increases, then they're going to, as one increases, the other one is also going to increase. The other way around, as you increase here, this is actually decreasing. So our pattern is going this way. So that's a negative association. So negative, positive. And you're just looking, you guys know what those look like. When the variables move opposite direction. For example, as one variable increases, the other variable decreases. There's also a case where it looks like chicken pox, and that means they have no association. So when one changes, it makes no difference to the other one. So that one's easy to see. Visually, they're super easy to see, so this should not be very difficult. So let's talk about these scenarios, just in words, not in visual, but in words. So what do you think? The hours spent, so we're talking about association. So do you think it's positive, negative, or none? So the hours a person studies, do you think as that increases, the number of the states that they visit will increase? Do you think they have an effect on each other at all, a positive or negative or anything? I would say no association. One has nothing to do with the other. Let's try this next scenario. The hours, the number of hours a person studies, do you think their grades would increase? Do you think that has a positive effect? Yes. The next one, the hours a person studies, and then the hours that they watch TV, do you think that they have a positive, negative effect, or no association? So the number of hours somebody's studying, as that increases, and then hours that they spend watching TV. Can you do it at the same time? No. So it would have like a negative effect. what about the number of absences a student has in their GPA? So the number of absences has a negative association with your GPA, is what you're looking at. So watching TV has a negative effect on how much you study. I wrote this down here, and I want you to do the same because we're going to do this on the other side, and I need you to have this on here. So first of all, you're going to label each of the next page's associations. So that was the positive, negative, or no association. The strength, which we're going to talk about. So the strength is going to be strong or weak, and the association, whether it's linear or non-linear. So I'm going to flip the page, and we're going to add that to this page. So that's the things that we're going to talk about. Let's put it in over here. So we need to know association. So is it positive, negative, or no association? We were talking about whether it's linear. So whether you can draw a line through it or no line. And when I say line, I mean straight line. Linear is a straight line. And there was another one. Strength. So either it's going to have a strong, weak, or again, none. Okay, so let's underline these guys because that's what we're going to answer. Okay, so looking at this first graph, hopefully you can see as this is increasing, this is also increasing because we can put like a line through here. So, having said that, the association is positive. Is that linear? Can I draw a line through it? It is also linear. In my strength, since my dots are close together, close dots to line, I'm going to say that has strong, it is strong as far as strength. So that's a strong correlation. The next one, as we increase, these also increase. I can put a line through it. So it's a positive still. I can put a nice little line through it, linear, which we'll talk about later. But this one is not as strong. So this is weaker because the dots are just kind of scattered around. They're not as close together to that line. This next one, well, it tends to have a positive, but it's not linear. So as things are going up, positive, looks like COVID at the beginning, doesn't it? That's what exponential growth looks like, by the way. So positive, this is nonlinear. And it's pretty strong. I mean, these are close together on that line. Look at this association. Hopefully this is the trend with COVID now as we're getting vaccinated. So again, if I would put a line through that, obviously that's non-linear because it's not a straight line. But this would be negative. This is non-linear. And I would say this is pretty strong too. Here's an example of kind of the same thing, but you can tell it's weaker. So it's negative, non-linear, but it has a weak association. It's not as strong. Chicken pox here on number 10, nothing. So it is not positive, it is no association, It is nonlinear, and it has no strength. This part down here, so let's take a look at this. So we're going to match each scatter plot with a possible description. So this one, let's just take a look at it. We know that it has, we can say all kinds of things here. So this is a negative, right? Linear and strong. Let's just label these. This would be positive. That's not a good trend line, but it's positive, linear, strong. This one is nothing. There's nothing. It's kind of flat though. Could you put a line? I don't think I could be anything. So nothing. Chickenpox. All right, so now let's read them. The temperature outside and the total gallons of gas sold at a gas station. Does this have an effect on this? The size of a home and the cost of its utilities. Yeah, I would say the size of the house, as bigger as your house is getting, the more your utilities you're going to pay. So this looks like B. The altitude of a hiker and the oxygen level in the air. So as you're increasing in altitude, as you're climbing up the mountain, your oxygen level goes down. That's why it's harder to breathe if you have never experienced. So that would be C. And so this one, nothing having to do with. But you see how I wasn't for sure on that first one? So I went on to read the others. Here's a couple other things that you need to know. Obviously, this little weirdo here is your outlier. It's a point that does not fit the overall pattern or trend. So he's out there. So you don't really include him. You can just ignore him. These are called clusters, and they can occur in a scatter plot when there are distinct or separate groups of points. So those are groups. So this is a cluster. I think that's it. So today you have a fun little breakout. Yep, that's it. A fun little breakout. I hope you enjoy it. Use your notes. And again, this is more just vocabulary, looking at it and making a judgment about it. So it's not solving anything, and that's kind of what I wanted you to do yesterday, and hopefully on this breakout today as well.